I was wondering tonight if Cotton Fitzsimmons had a little heart failure or two. Huh?
Cotton was probably not laughing. Well, it's not over. I came out here just a couple of seconds ago. It wasn't over yet. They were in overtime.
Oh no.
And
they had a big lead, didn't they?
Well, they had a 25-point lead in the third quarter. Spurs did. And it went into overtime. We've got some highlights. I'll show you what happened. I think we've got a final. And I'll be back to tell you more about it in a minute. And, of course, it's happy birthday time for the Monday Minute. Okay, the game is over, I understand. The Spurs won, but you can bet that right now Cotton Fitzsimmons is in the locker room singing the guys a little four-letter aria because it wasn't such a great game for the Spurs tonight, even though they come away on the high side of the score. Okay, final score from the arena, 114 to 109, Spurs in overtime. Let's show you some of the highlights. Golden State could not do anything right in the first half. They missed the shot here. They play a little volleyball. It finally comes down to Johnny Moore. He starts the fast break, fires it up to George Gervin. Ice makes his move, puts it up, and of course it falls. That's George Gervin we're talking about. Tremendous play. Here's another nice one. Picked by Artis. Ice goes in for the reverse slam. In the third quarter, the Spurs had a 25-point lead, and it looked like blowout city, but Golden State stormed back. Rookie Gary Plummer rumbles in around Artis for the dunk, and the Spurs blew that 25-point lead. They went into overtime tied at 105. You're looking at overtime right now. Gene Banks to the hoop as the Spurs reeled off the first 7 points in OT. Look at the move by Gervin off the glass and up, plus the foul. Gervin with a good night tonight. He gets the three-point play on that one. Let's go to the scoreboard. This just in a couple of moments ago. The Spurs hang on to beat Golden State 114 to 109. We have Randy Sparagi down at the arena right now. He's talking to some of the Spurs in the locker room, and believe me, it's going to be interesting to hear what they have to say after this one. Anyway, Spurs' next game is tomorrow night in Kansas City. We'll take you into the locker room tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Other scores around the NBA. Philadelphia beats Atlanta tonight. Cleveland beats Washington 121 to 112. Another overtime game to tell you about, Detroit and Milwaukee, in a real dandy. This one is still in overtime, I understand. Is that right? Last we have this was still in overtime at 113 to 111, so that one's not over yet either. Last week, remember, we started suggesting that you support the NBA players who are donating their All-Star checks to help famine victims in Ethiopia. Now, if you haven't sent in a pledge yet, here's something to think about. The Spurs say they will donate 4 tickets to the game between the Spurs and Philadelphia at the arena March 4th. Those tickets will be given away in a drawing among those who send in pledges here to Channel 4. The winner also gets to meet the Spurs personally before the game. Any pledge is welcome, of course, but we're suggesting that you pledge an amount of your choosing for each point George Gervin scores in that game. He's the only Spur who's going to be in the game. Send the pledges to Interaction Ethiopian Fund, care of KMOL TV, Post Office Box 2641, zip code in San Antonio 78299. We'll have the drawing at the end of next week. College basketball tonight. UTSA was on the road at Lamar. Let's check the scoreboard. Not such great news. The Roadrunners are 11-7 now. Derek Gervin scores 21 points, but Lamar beats UTSA 80-70 tonight. Other games in college basketball. This was a good one. St. John's, #1 ranked, comes away a winner, but Seton Hall had them down by 12 points at halftime. St. John's really had to come back in the second half to win that one. One other score among teams in the top 10. Duke beats Harvard tonight 82-53. Well, we're celebrating an anniversary of sorts here tonight on News 4 San Antonio. On a Monday night, 1 year ago, the Monday Minute made its debut. So, of course, what could be more appropriate than to look back at 1 year of the best and worst in sports. Second most impressive dunk of the year, 6'4" Michael Jordan while he was still at North Carolina. Most impressive dunk of the year, 5'6" Spud Webb over 6'4" Michael Jordan. Long shot of the year, Dennis Johnson, underhanded from about 75 feet away. Best basketball defense, Bill Walton throwing his shoe at this shot. Talk about putting your soul into the defense. The shot that absolutely no one could defense, this one by Larry Nance of the Phoenix Suns. Unbelievable shot by Larry Nance. Shot you saw the most times in the nightly highlight reels. Nat Moore of the Miami Dolphins doing his helicopter impression. Most devastating hit, this one where the receiver not only had his helmet torn off, but appears to have had his hair torn off as well. Most painful moments, this pitch that crossed up the catcher and crossed up the eyes of the umpire, I'll bet. This fly ball that put a lump on the head of Chet Lemon. This bronc rider who thought broken bones were the only injuries he had to worry about until this happened. Best catch, Bob Stanley using his hat instead of his glove to haul in this home run into the bullpen. Best hockey hit, a tie between this one that looks like it came straight out of Bowling for
for dollars, and this one that turned out to be a shattering experience for the fans behind the boards. Biggest tantrums, a tie between Villanova coach Rollie Massimino and John McEnroe. This one was all world, even by John's standards. Character you'd least like your daughter to bring home for dinner, pro wrestler Adrian Street. Shot you'd at least like to see again, Adrian Street, proving that he probably wouldn't want to show up with your daughter anyway. That's this week's Monday Minute. We'll start year 2 1 week from tonight.
Since it was an anniversary issue, it was a little longer than a minute, but there was so much stuff. We had to leave out some unbelievably good stuff.
You better hope Adrian Street's not in town watching tonight.
I hope he's not.
Oh.
Well, I'd like to have him stop by and be on live with us. Adrian, if you're watching, you're welcome anytime. Just you stay on that side of the desk, and I'll stay on this side.
And not in a dark alley and you're alone.
Really, I got to mention, Joe Cortez, Central Catholic basketball coach. Speaking of Adrian Street, 600 wins in 26 years. He got his 600th tonight. Central Catholic beat Roosevelt 64-48. Wow. So congratulations to Joe Cortez over at Central Catholic, and George Gervin had 27 tonight in that extravaganza.
In fairness to them, they've been on the road. They looked a little leg tired.
Yeah, they did. They really lost it in the second half,
yeah.
but then they fought back and hung on.
Closely.
Well, they're back up to 500 now.
Yeah, that's right.